iOS 4.2 does seem to have fixed a number of problems that were visible in the earlier beta versions, one of which is the operation of remote. If I go to remote now, it's actually able to find my library. If I select something at random to play, it actually is able to play it. And this is playing now from my Mac OS system. I can pause and play back. That's all very well and good. Movie playback control, I think, leaves something to be desired. I can select a movie to play back.
请你放弃此情，你可知我是赵人？我也是。秦国是否要灭赵？是。秦王是否赵国的敌人？是。那你在替谁说话？你如何配做赵人？你的话，飞雪也曾经这样问我。那年我浪迹江湖，碰到飞雪。飞雪是赵国大将赵振之女。
And it does enable playback control, and I can pause. But I don't have the full set of on-screen controls that are available on the Mac OS system. For instance, I can't expand the image to full screen. And I think that is a disadvantage. I think all of the controls should be available to the remote application, but right now it's just playback, pause, and volume. And that's not really enough to make for a good remote. Perhaps the biggest disappointment in this version of iOS 4.2 is the lack of ability to do printing to shared printers. Apple is touting the AirPrint feature, and originally it was intended that developers would be able to test AirPrint by printing to shared printers under a Mac OS system. I currently have that set up, but when I go to actually try to print something, in this case I'm just going to print the Google homepage, it can't find the printer. And it never will, because Apple has basically given up for now on trying to do AirPrint to shared printers. You can do AirPrint to the ePrint enabled HP printers that are available. I consider this very undesirable, to have to buy a new printer just to implement printing on the iPad. But basically that's what users are left with. It looks like AirPrint to shared printers under Mac OS is simply a no-show, and there's no telling when that will be implemented. I'd also like to note that with the latest version of iOS, there's now a new version of iTunes. And if we go into iTunes, we'll notice that there is now Ping. Finally, Ping has arrived for the iPad. And Ping is there. So essentially, the iPad has caught up finally with the iPhone 4. I'd like to make just a final closing comment about the direction of iOS 4.2 and beyond. All through the development of iOS and its user interface, Apple has very, very definitely avoided making use of anything that might be construed as a window. Everything is full screen once you're in the application. And in the latest Back to the Mac trend, Apple is even applying that full screen approach to Mac OS. But it does have some disadvantages, and I think the key disadvantage is the ability to display real-time information that the user might be interested in that might be provided by a particular app, such as email application, or other applications such as GPS. There's simply no mechanism to do that in iOS. This is really, really essential for a phone or a mobile type device. And I think Apple will ultimately need to come around to this approach. But that would be a major, major change in the whole iOS philosophy. And I'm not sure how they would ever approach that. I think the easiest way to do it might be to make the multitasking bar something that is always on display, or at least can be always on display, rather than just something that's an option to the normal home screen. And then within the multitasking bar, there could be a provision for real-time data updating so that the user could see, for instance, what email had just arrived, or get other real-time information such as GPS or news feeds. iOS really does need this capability, and it doesn't have it yet.